everybody. So let's start with a nice long spine. And I know we start like that most of the time. And the reason being so that you can focus on your breath. So breathing in, pulling that breath all the way down your torso to your pelvic floor, and breathing out from the pelvic floor up. And if you're not sure if you're using your full body, just place your hands on your body, one on your chest and one below your belly button, and see if you can feel your hands as you breathe. So feel and feel your hands as you're breathing. And so before I started recording, we were talking a little bit about, what we wanted to work on, and posture came up and back body. So know that breathing fully is one of the best things that we can do to support our core, which helps us to be upright, and we also have to kind of retrain those muscles if they get used to kind of slouching over. So once you are breathing with your full body, and sometimes it takes a little while for that to connect in, I want you to notice how you're feeling, scanning through the body, and thinking about how you want to feel when we are done with practice today. So setting your intention, and you might take your hands to your heart center, bowing the head to the heart, heart to the earth. Really, being aware of how you want to feel when we're through, as well as how you're feeling in this moment. And then once you are ready, we're going to release those hands. Now the inhale, we're going to take the arms up overhead, and exhale, bring them down in front, right? So you're just going to inhale up. So thinking long through your side bodies, and exhale down. Sometimes you do this standing up, but once we're seated, you don't have to worry about falling down. One more time, inhaling up, exhaling down. Now, when we did this last time, you're going to inhale up, and you're going to exhale one arm behind you and one arm forward down to the floor, and then inhale up and alternate sides. And just noticing, so it's a tiny, well, maybe for some of us, tiny little twist. You're moving through your arms and you're breathing as you're moving. We're going to do one more time on our second side. And then when you come back to the center, now what I want you to do, and I realize you can't see my hands on the screen, my palms are facing each other. We're going to inhale up, and you're going to exhale and pull down, and you're going to create your own resistance, right? Inhale up and exhale, pull. We could add weights in here, but we're not going to because we're creating our own, right? Inhale is up, exhale, pulling down. We're going to do this one more time. And I know it's a lot of work, right? Great. Now, shake out your arms and your shoulders a little bit. And then we're going to make like cacti. Yeah, heating up already, right? So now here, you have your palms open towards the front. Elbows are about shoulder height. And the inhale, you're going to press back. So sometimes we do this standing up, and we might do that as well. But right now, you're going to inhale here, exhale, bring your elbows, forearms, and palms together. Inhale, open, and exhale, come together. And one of the reasons we're not standing up as we're doing this is because I really want you to focus on what's happening in your upper back body and your arms and your breath as we're doing this, right? So you're being very aware of how you're moving here. Last time, now when we come together, you're going to stay as close as you can without hurting yourself, right? And you're going to reach up towards the ceiling. And I know, like, I can feel this a lot. It's not a big movement, right? But you're just pressing those fingertips up, and you're still pressing in towards the center. Last time, and then you're going to let them go and roll through those shoulders. Like, that was a lot of work to start off. Okay. And then I want you to interlace your fingers. We're going to roll through the wrists a couple of times in each direction. So seeing if you can make kind of like circles. Then we're going to stop, and now you're going to reach one wrist up, and you're kind of pulling your fingers back on the bottom hand, and then switch sides. And you're still breathing, of course. All right. And then we'll let that go. Now, let's make our way onto our hands and knees. And if you want a blanket or something under your knees, go ahead and place that there. And so as we're here, your knees are going to be slightly behind your hips and about hip width apart, hands about shoulder distance apart, slightly in front of your shoulders, okay? And then you're going to engage those abdominal muscles. And I want you to see if you can feel that low back. So we're gonna inhale here with a flat back, and exhale, you're gonna round the lower back and reach back, but we're not gonna come all the way back into child's pose. Inhale back up to a flat back and exhale down. So we're trying to stretch those low back muscles. So I'm curious, can y'all feel that? Inhale, flat back, exhale, round, and pull back. Now, next time we come to our inhale, you're gonna pause for a moment. Now we're gonna go forward. So you might step your hands just slightly forward. And the inhale, you're gonna bring your hips down, soften those shoulders away from the ears. And exhale, again, you're gonna slide back, not into a full child's pose, but rounding the low back and pulling. Inhale forward, drop the hips, soften the shoulders, exhale back. Moving slowly with your breath, making sure that nothing hurts. We're gonna do this one more time. Inhale forward, exhale back. All right, and then we'll come to a neutral place. You'll walk your hands in a little bit. And now let's stretch out the right leg. You're gonna turn your toes under, reach your heel towards the ground so you're getting a nice stretch through your calf, right? And press away with your hands. Now, I want you to feel your weight in your hands and your knee, because we're gonna lift up that right leg and keep breathing. And then point and flex that foot. All right, and then we're gonna bend the knee, and you're gonna press the bottom of the foot up towards the ceiling, and you're still breathing. All right, now we're gonna stretch out that leg again. Inhale is gonna be here. So this is like our tabletop. Exhale, you're gonna bring the head and knee towards one another. Inhale, extend. Exhale, come in towards the center. Now, if for some reason you're watching this and you have trouble being on your knees, you can do this same movement on your back body. Right? It's just, you know, our body using gravity in a different way. Last time, and then you're gonna place that knee on the ground. Everybody okay? I was like, maybe we're working too hard all day. Let's stretch out the left leg, toes turn under, you're gonna reach the heel towards the ground, keep breathing. And again, you're gonna feel your weight in your hands and your knee, and we're gonna lift that leg straight up. And just kind of notice what you use to lift that leg off the ground. Then we're gonna bend the knee and press up towards the sky. Keep breathing. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And again, we're going to straighten out the leg. Inhale's gonna be here. Exhale, head and knee towards one another. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come in towards the center. So this is a nice, gentle way to strengthen your back body. Right? So just kind of notice how you're feeling as we do this. Last time. Now, when you come in, bring that knee down, we're going to come to a full child's pose this time. And we're going to stay here for a minute. So if you want to have a block under your head, or if your head comes to the ground, you're going to come into a full child's pose. And your arms can be extended or they can be wrapped around your legs. So find that comfortable place. Long, smooth breaths. If you need to move, you're going to do that. Now, let's walk those arms out in front if they aren't already. We're going to reach the hands over to the left and shift your hips over to the right so you get a nice long stretch through that side body. We'll come through the center and take the second side. Again, make our way through the center. Now, curious here, is everybody open to a little bit more work? Okay, so we're going to come back into that tabletop. Wrists slightly in front of the shoulders, knees slightly behind the hips. You're going to turn your toes under and you're going to slide back like a dog waking up in the morning and stretch out your body. Now the inhale is going to be into plank and then exhale into your down dog. And your hands and feet should stay in the same place. So if you have to walk them back and forth, get yourself into plank and then slide yourself back into a down dog. Right, just moving with your breath. Now, if you want to increase this, when you come forward, you're going to take your right leg and reach your knee towards your elbow. Exhale back into your down dog. Inhale, alternating sides, knee to the elbow. So you're kind of doing a three-legged plank as you come forward and then exhaling into your down dog. Moving slowly with your breath. Now one more time on each side, and we can always come to child's pose whenever you want to. Now after you finish your second side, we're going to pedal through our feet, and then you're going to gently hop or walk your feet forward into a forward bend. Bringing our hands onto our legs, we're going to inhale halfway up and exhale down into our forward bend. Inhale up, exhale down. One more time, inhale halfway up, exhale down, and then we're going to inhale, slide all the way up. And when you get to the top, you're going to find your tennis ball. And you're going to, at first, just gently roll through your shoulders. Notice how you're feeling. And then whenever you want to, you're going to, and I'm coming off the mat just so that I can have my full body in the video, but you can stay on your mat with the ball. We're going to roll through your feet one at a time. So pretty much one of my all-time favorite things to do in the world, roll on tennis balls. Keep breathing. If you have not switched feet, go ahead and do that. Now, let's see. You're going to keep your tennis ball, make your way towards the front of your mat. And some of you might have blocks towards the front of the mat. And what I want you to do at first, so here we are, we're about hip width apart with our feet. You're going to step back with your right foot into a high lunge. Bring that foot forward, and then we're going to do the second side. Right? And so no rush. We're going to alternate sides, and you're just moving as you breathe. Now, next time you finish your second side, which for most of us it's that left foot, we're going to take our hands to the heart center. Now, and we were using our hands a little bit for balance, right? So now you're going to step back and open your arms like we did when we were seated. Inhale, exhale, hands back to the heart center, feet together. Inhale, exhale, and it will help if you keep your feet hip width apart. If you try to have them in a straight line, you're definitely going to be a little bit more wobbly. And one more time on the left side. And when your hands come together, you're going to pause for a moment. I want you to feel your thumbs on your sternum, heels of the hands together, and then the fingertips together. Okay, now you're going to find your tennis ball. We're going to put it under the right heel. And you want a little yellow protruding behind your heel. Now, all 4 points of the foot, base of the big toe, base of the pinky toe, both sides of the heel, you're going to press down and take your weight into that right foot and come up onto the left toes. Keep breathing. Now, we're just going to pivot that knee in and out. And obviously, your foot and your hip move with it. And one of those times when your knee is pointing out, you're going to slide the heel in and start to slide that foot up your lower leg. Keep breathing. Now you could do this with a flat foot, right? So if you can also keep your toes on the ground and your heel pressing into your ankle. Now, if it feels safe, you're going to reach those arms up. And then inhale will be opening your arms out to the sides. Exhale, hands coming towards one another. You can also just stand still with your hands at your heart center or the arms reaching up towards the sky. You find that place that works for you. Next, exhale, let's bring those hands to the heart center. Knee forward, foot comes down. Take a nice deep breath because I feel like some of you were holding your breath. And we're going to switch sides. So again, a little yellow protruding behind, ground down through all 4 points of the foot. Hands gently pressing into the sternum, heels of the hands, fingertips touching. Come up onto the right toes, and start to pivot through your knee. And you're noticing, like, how does this feel in my hips as I'm, do we even feel it, right? Now, one of the times the knee is pointing out, I'm gonna slide the heel into the ankle. Keep breathing. Possibly slide up the lower leg. And again, you might start to extend your arms up, inhaling open, exhaling coming together, or you might keep them at the heart center. You're going to find that way that works for you. Long, smooth breaths. Focusing on a non-moving spot on the floor is helpful. And next time your hands come together, we're going to exhale, hands to the heart center. Knee forward, foot comes down. You're going to safely step off of your tennis ball, and then with your feet about hip width apart, arms at the sides. We're going to inhale, reach for the sky, come up onto your toes if it's safe. Exhale, come down. So moving through your feet and your arms, inhaling up, exhaling down. One more time. Now, let's see. Let's take your hands onto your hips. Your feet are still about hip width apart. And we're going to take the weight into the left foot. And what I want you to do is to slowly bring up your right knee and flex that foot. And then you're going to step it back. And then bring it back down to standing. Shift your weight into the right foot. Slowly lift up that left knee, flex the foot, reach back. Back up to standing. So we're just going to alternate for a couple of breaths. Knee comes up, stepping back like you're going to step into a lunge, and then you bring that foot next to your standing leg. It's kind of, I like the slow-mo thing, slow motion. Okay, one more time on each side. Knee up, reach back, step the foot down. Last time. Nice. Now, you're going to take your weight into your left foot. Hands are still on the hips. Or if there's some other place where it feels safer, go ahead and do that. Now you're going to lift up your right leg. So your weight's in your left foot. And what I want you to do is now we're going to inhale, body up. Exhale, you're gonna reach that leg back and then come back up to standing. So we're gonna stay on the same side now. We're not going to alternate. Inhale up. And you're letting your legs stay in line with your body. So we're moving towards warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3. Right, inhale is up. Exhale, down. And you can bend your standing leg. You can have your arms out to the side or up overhead. You can explore how to use your arms. Last time. And when you come up, what I want you to do before we move to the second side, you're going to make some big circles with your hips. So walk your feet out a little bit. You can move your body, you can bend your knees. Notice how that feels in the low back, because a couple of you talked about that at the beginning. We're going to stop and shift directions. All right, everybody's doing okay. A little head shake or thumbs up. All right, now we're going to move to the second side. So weights in the right foot. And again, hands on the hips or wherever it helps you. You're going to lift your left foot up. Inhale, body up. Exhale, let your leg be your guide. Inhale is up. And you can touch down with the foot or not, right? Exhale, come forward. And you might have one side that's much more cooperative. Then this will be our last time. And that foot's going to come down. You're going to pause for a moment. Again, take your feet a little bit wide and make some big circles. And you're going to pause, go the other direction. So now I want you to check in, like, how is my back body doing in this moment? And then we're going to take our hands and place them on your pelvis to the best of your ability with your fingers pointing down. And your elbows are kind of pressing towards one another. So for my posture people, like, I want you to think about this, and it's a lot of work for those back muscles to hold you, and some of us don't need to exaggerate like this, and some of us do, right? So you're gonna press your elbows. Now inhale's gonna be up, exhale, you're gonna sit like you're sitting into a chair, right? But don't let this happen, don't let your chin stick out. And you could even, if I had you all in chairs, you could even like touch down into a chair, right? It's a little bit more work, right? Okay, now, next time you're in your chair position, I want you to stay there for a moment and make sure it's a comfortable place, right? So the low back is in a comfortable position. You're using those abdominal muscles, and you're going to relax the elbows for a moment and then press them in towards one another. Relax away with the elbows and then bring the elbows towards one another. One more time. And then you're going to release the hands, take them onto the thighs, inhale, body up, exhale, come into a forward bend. And it's okay if your knees stay bent. We're going to hold on to the elbows and gently move side to side. Still breathing. And we're going to come through the center. Inhale, slide on up. All right, so now what I want you to do, once you're up, some of you might like to have blocks or a chair in front of you. What we're going to do is we're going to step back with your right foot into pretty decent lunge. And your feet, again, are hip distance, hip width apart, and a leg's distance the long way, right? Now, we're gonna straighten that front leg and then bend it, right? So inhale as you straighten that leg, exhale as you bend down into your lunge. And you could, depending on, your body, you might have your hands on the floor or on some blocks, and you're just bending and straightening. Nice. Now, next time your knee is bent, I want you to step that back foot forward, and we're going to switch sides. So again, we start in our lunge, and then with your breath, you're going to start to bend and straighten the front leg. And if possible, your back leg stays straight, right? As you're moving and you're noticing how this feels in your hips, in your back, in your breath. Now, again, next time we're in our lunge, you're going to take your hands, and if you're using blocks, you're going to take it with you. You're going to pivot around into a wide angle. All right, now you're going to keep your left hand to center, and your vision is going to be on your right hand. And I also want you to think feet pulling in towards the center so you engage those inner thighs. Inhale, you're going to follow that hand up towards the ceiling, and exhale down. We're going to alternate sides. Inhale up, exhale down. Hands on a block or on the floor. If this doesn't work for you, if your arm doesn't come up, you can, just lift your arm a little bit off the ground. You can have your knees bent. I want you to make sure that whatever you're doing, it feels good in your body. Now, next time you finish your second side, we're going to pause there for a moment. You're going to walk your feet into a little bit wider than hip distance apart. We're going to bend those knees, and you might find your chest coming onto your thighs. And bring your forearms onto your thighs. Now here, and stay with me, right? So I want you to see if you can bring your butt closer to the ground and then straighten your legs, but only move in a way that feels good. Keep breathing. And then the next time your legs are almost straight, you're going to take your hands onto your thighs. Inhale, slide on up. You're going to grab a block, place it between your thighs. All right, now I want you to squeeze that block. And then what you're going to do, and a couple different options. Most of you've done this with me before. We're going to inhale the arms up and exhale into a chair position, squeezing the block. Inhale up, exhale down, or you can keep your hands on your thighs. Right? It's going to depend on what feels good in your body. Last time, we're going to hold our chair position. Bring your hands to your thighs or your heart center. And you're going to shift onto your toes, lift those heels off the ground. Beautiful. Exhale, heels down. Now we're going to inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, one arm forward, one arm back, gentle twist. Inhale up. Exhale, second side. And you're only going as deeply as it feels really amazingly wonderful in your body. Last time to your second side. We're going to bring those hands to the heart center. We're going to make our way into a forward bend, right? So hands are going to come onto your thigh. You're going to slide down into your forward bend. Bring your hands onto the floor, so you might need to bend your knees. And you're going to walk your feet back into a plank. Option would be to have your knees down. And yes, we're still holding on to that block, okay? Now, just like we did early on, you're going to slide back into your down dog. And then inhale, plank, and down dog. What we've added some resistance by bringing that block in between our thighs so that we can pull in towards the center with our muscles. Last time we come forward, we're going to gently place the knees on the ground. Slide that block out. And then let's sit back and sweep our legs around. Everybody's doing good? You're like, so glad I came today. All right, so now I want you to keep your right leg extended, and we're going to bring in the left foot and flex it and gently move side to side. Now we're going to place that ankle over the knee, And then take our hands behind us and you're gonna slide that foot in. And so I am off of the mat with my heel, so it's much easier to slide. So if you want to make your way to your floor, go ahead and do that. So we're gonna slide the heel in, bring the leg, this bent leg towards our body, and then slide it away. And you're still breathing. And this is the one time that it would be really nice in yoga class to have socks on, right? Now, next time you bring that foot in, you slide your foot in, I want you to walk your body, so you're using your hands behind you, towards your legs. And for some of us, that's going to be a teeny tiny movement, right? And for some of you, it will work well, right? So you're working your torso, your chest towards your bent leg. Okay? Keep breathing. Now walk your body away. We're going to slide the leg away, straighten out your left leg. Take a breath, and we're going to bring the other foot in. And again, gentle rocking at first. And just notice, like, you know, since we talked about the low back, you know, how is that feeling as we're moving here? And then when you're ready, we're going to cross the ankle over the top of the knee, take the hands behind you. And this is where we're going to start to slide the heel in and then slide it away. Making sure not to get any rug burns or anything on your heel. Still breathing, noticing all those wonderful sensations if you have it, right? I definitely do. Now, next time your heel comes in, we're going to place that foot on the ground and again, start to work your body towards your legs. And when I say that, you know, I notice like each of us takes that on in a different way. I kind of walk my hands in, some of you walk your butt in, you know, so just notice, like, no right or wrong, right? Because it's your body. All right, and then you're gonna walk that body away, uncross the legs. Now, what I want you to think about, we're going to, here we are, we're sitting upright. You're gonna bring the bottoms of your feet together and slide your feet in towards your body. And you're going to bring your heels as close to the body as it's comfortable, right? And we're gonna take our thumbs onto the padded part underneath the toes and start to open up your feet like you're reading a book. And then I want you to bring your feet back together and see if you can feel anything in the area of your hips and hip flexors as you bring the feet together, and then you're gonna open them up again. And you're actively using your thumbs to open the feet. Then we're gonna keep the elbows pointing towards the body, inhale up, and exhale, take your head towards the padded part of your feet. And you only move as deeply as you can still breathe fully, right? So you want to make sure that you can still breathe, take long, smooth breaths as you are bending forward. All right, and on an inhale, we're gonna come on up and let's point the right knee towards the ceiling. And we're going to take the left heel and put it by your right buttock. Your right hand is behind you. Left arm is up. Now inhale is going to be here. Exhale, you're going to take that hand and you either use your hand or your elbow on the outside of the knee and start to twist the upper body around. Now, some of you might be more comfortable with that left leg straight, but you're going to find a way that feels good to you. And make sure, again, that you can breathe fully. On an inhale, let's lift up the body. Exhale, come forward. Release your arms, stretch out your legs. We're going to inhale, body up. Exhale, over your legs into a forward bend. Inhale up, and then you're going to slide that left knee in Take your right heel towards that left buttock. Left hand is behind you, right arm reaches up towards the sky. Inhale here, exhale, hand or elbow to the outside of the knee as you start to twist your chest and upper body towards the inner thigh. Your head follows in a way that's comfortable, right? Some people like to look over the back shoulder. Some people like to keep their head in line with their body. The main thing is it's not a struggle, right? Making sure long, smooth breaths are possible. And on the next inhale, lengthening the body. Coming back around, we're going to stretch out those legs. Take your arms up overhead. Inhale, body up. Exhale, over your legs. All right, and now one of my favorite ones, we're going to inhale up, and you have your legs extended. Now, some options here. If you're having low back pain in this moment, you're going to bend your knees and hold on to your thighs as we do this. Okay? And I will model both ways. So, so option one might be arms parallel with the legs. Inhale, body up. Exhale, taking your pelvis towards the floor. Inhale up. Option two, knees bent, hold on to your thighs. Inhale up, exhale back, and you use your arms to help you come up. Right? So, and if you're not sure, you can try both ways out and see which feels good. And you can also alternate between the two. Now, the next time we exhale back, we're going to hold the position either with your legs straight or you're holding onto the back of your thighs. So we're holding the position, but you're going to keep breathing. Like you should be able to talk to me. Yes, yes. It's really important. That tells me that you're still breathing. Okay, now from here, you're going to carefully bend your knees. Grab onto them and gently roll onto your back body and take your knees in towards your chest. All right, and then you might squeeze your knees toward your body. You might move them in big circles. See what feels good to you. And now, hopefully everybody has a block close by. So I want you to find your block. So here we are, we're laying on the ground. You're going to bend your knees. You're going to lift up your butt, and we're going to use the block on its lowest level and place it under the pelvis. So it's not at all on your spine. And then we're going to keep the left foot on the ground and bring your right knee in towards your chest. And notice when you do that, like many of us will have to shift our pelvis a little bit to flatten it onto the block, right? Now you're going to reach your left hand towards your flexed right foot and bring that lower leg across your body. So we're going to be moving towards like doing a pigeon prep pose on our back body, right? Now we're going to lift up that left leg and flex the foot. We're going to let it hover over the ground. So straighten out your left leg, the foot's flexed, and you're bringing this lower leg of the right leg towards your body. Now you're going to all love this one. We're going to take that left leg and you're going to bend the knee. And just like we did when we were seated, you're going to take the thigh, left thigh, to the back of the right ankle. Right? Do you recognize this? We were just doing this sitting up. And you're pressing isometrically, ankle into thigh, thigh into ankle. You don't need to use your hands anymore because your legs are doing the work. And when you're ready to come down, you're going to carefully place your left foot on the ground, uncross, and then place your right foot on the ground. We're back in our starting position. And then we'll bring in the left knee Flex that left foot and reach your right hand towards that ankle. Pull the lower leg towards your body again. And then we're going to stretch out the right leg and flex that foot. And you're pressing away just like you were standing up on that foot. Long, smooth breaths. And whenever you're ready, you're going to bend that right knee and bring your thigh towards your ankle. So pressing right thigh and left ankle towards one another isometrically, relaxing your hands. Again, when you start to feel done, this time instead of putting the foot on the ground, we're going to uncross the legs and reach your feet up towards the ceiling. So now we're in a supported shoulder stand, and I want you to point and flex your feet or make circles with your feet. And then ever so slowly, we're going to open the legs out into a wide angle. And again, slowly bring them towards one another. And then you might decide that this feels really good, and when your legs come together again, you might stay in this position for a little while, or you might be done here and bend your knees and carefully take your feet to the floor one at a time, and take that block out from underneath. So decide. Where you want to go. And eventually, like within the next minute or so, we'll meet with our feet on the floor and the block out from under our pelvis. And here, what I want you to do, so now we have the floor as contact with our pelvis. I want you to just gently tilt your pelvis up and then tilt it down. So your feet stay on the floor, your back body stays on the floor. You're just tilting through the pelvis, and you're noticing how that feels as you do so. And we'll stop tilting. We're going to walk the feet so that they're as wide as your mat, or maybe even a little bit wider. And then one knee at a time, you're going to take your left knee, bring it in towards the center. The right knee stays pointing up towards the sky. Then lift up your left knee and then bring the right knee in. So you're doing one knee at a time so that you can feel the articulation in each hip. I know sometimes some of us are used to doing like a windshield wiper movement where both legs move at the same time. I really like to do one at a time so that you can feel all the sensation in each leg. Now, next time you finish your second leg, and some of you might use a strap here, or you might use your hands, we're gonna walk the legs up towards the sky. I didn't want you to think we forgot about the hamstrings. We've done a number of things for them, but here, so now you have your legs perpendicular, maybe your hands are on your legs or you're using the strap. Inhale with your legs here, perpendicular, body on the floor. Exhale, you're going to pull those legs towards your body. Inhale, legs away. Exhale, legs come in. And we're trying to keep our legs straight as we move. The body and head are relaxed on the floor. And next time you inhale your legs away, we're going to take the strap off and bend your knees. And now I want you to think about how do you want to be for your Shavasana, right? So in Shavasana, we want to be warm and comfortable, so you might put on socks and shirts. You might want a little support under your knees, but I want you to find a comfortable place to be. as you settle in, inviting your body to soften, letting yourself be completely supported by the ground beneath you. If you find your mind wandering, bring your awareness to your breath. Go back to that breathing that we did at the very beginning of class, where your hands are on your body and you're breathing with your full body.
So ever so gently start to bring your awareness back to your breath. Noticing how your body is feeling and maybe remembering how you wanted to feel when you were done with practice today. You might bend your knees and roll over to the side. You might stretch your arms overhead. You might want to stay on the ground a little bit longer. But whenever you do come up to a seated position, I'm going to invite you to grab your tennis balls and we're going to put them outside. So your sit bones, right, the bottom of your pelvis, you don't want to put the tennis ball right under them, right? So you're either going to be to the side or the front, okay? But you're going to make sure that fairly comfortable, right? It's not hurting, okay? And then as you sit, you're going to invite your body to become heavy and soften, ground down through the earth. And your awareness moves into your breath. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine that you're rooting down through those sit bones, right? Through your tailbone, the bottom of your pelvis, through your root chakra, Muladhara, you're reaching down into the earth. We did tree pose today too, right? So thinking about your torso as the trunk and your head and arms as the branches. So you're rooting down energetically through the bottom of your body and then pulling up earth energy into your trunk and your branches, and if you have any leaves yet. And just breathing in, down into the earth, breathing out, up into your body. And as you move out into the world today, thinking about how you can stay in this calm, grounded, centered space in whatever work that you're doing out in the world. Work or fun, whatever you have planned for today. And so you can release that visualization, or you can continue to let it work through you, that connection to the earth, even as you begin to walk away out into your day. So let's close with 3 healing sounds. So inhaling your arms up towards the sky, we'll exhale the sound Hu to the heart. Hu. Inhaling your arms out to the side, the sound will be Ah to the heart. Ah. And inhaling, scooping up the sound of Om from the earth. Now I know you still have those tennis balls under your butt. So when we're done, you'll decide, if you want to sit here a little bit longer. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.